Don Bius, you are in the hot seat of hot seats as far as I'm concerned right now. Let's talk specifically about keeping the ethanol tax or losing it in this lame duck session. What do you think will happen?
Well, Ken, I'm really hopeful that when the members come back next week, there's a more cooperative spirit than we've seen in the last couple of years between the parties. Because we have the ethanol tax credits, not just the VTEC, but the small producer tax credit, the alternative fuel mixture tax credit that expired December 31st, as well as the secondary tariff on ethanol. And I'm hopeful that they, at the very least, extend them for a short period of time.
Do you see that the E15 blend has really helped you any?
Well, not yet. But what happened with the E15 decision is historic because it's the first crack in the blend wall in 32 years. And if we're going to move down the road to get to 36 billion gallons by 2022, as the federal mandate requires, we're going to have to raise that blend wall. We're capped out at 10%, which is about 13.5 billion gallons annually is all we're allowed to use. The second step is coming, hopefully, next month, or the end of this month, where EPA hopefully will approve E15 for 01 and newer cars. That'll mean every car produced in America in the last decade is eligible to use E15, and that number will only grow. It'll be about 60% in terms of the vehicle fleet, but it's a greater number in terms of fuel usage, and every year that number will go up by 15 million vehicles. But we're not going to stop. We applied that waiver. Growth Energy set that waiver out there to tear down that blend wall. We got a crack in it. We're hoping to get a bigger crack here this month, but we're going to continue until we tear it down.
One last question. The Congress coming in with all these new people, is it more pro-ethanol, renewable energy than the last one?
It remains to be seen. You know, when you have as big a freshman class as we're going to be expecting, there's a lot of people with different views. Many of them didn't address our issues in the campaigns, so we've got our work to do to get to those people, to educate them on the facts. We don't want them to believe in all this misinformation and lies that our the special vested interests that don't want to see us succeed have been passing around. Like the biggest lie I've ever heard is food versus fuel. Most bizarre concept I've ever heard is international indirect land use change penalties. No one can explain that or design it. We don't want them to buy into that rhetoric right off the bat. So we've got our work cut out for us immediately. Our issues are not partisan. They're bipartisan. Obviously, we lost some good champions for ethanol in this election. We hope we've gained a number as well, and we had certainly a lot of true champions that returned.
This summer when Growth Energy came out with a new policy to increase demand for ethanol, which most, in the long run, that looks to be the best thing. If we increase demand and get rid of the tax credit, can we see some of the bigger ethanol companies like Poet, Valero, and now Flint Hills grow bigger and push out some of these smaller?
No, I don't think so. I think it works just the opposite. The smaller single plant operations will not be able to sustain market barriers where you have an excess production of ethanol. They won't have as deep of pockets. And in reality, you know, one of the greatest things about this industry and what's been great for rural America is you don't have 3 companies dominating the industry anymore. You have 185. It's like created competition. And competition gets you a fair price in the marketplace. We want to continue that. We don't want to see the oil companies own this industry. We want to see the local investors and the farmers and the people in those rural communities, because all that money stays in that rural community, gets reinvested, helps the tax base, supports schools, hospitals, jobs, opportunities for young people to stay in rural America and make a living. We think that's a great plan, and we want to continue that.